Okay, we're going to get started here. So as we go through this presentation, feel free to use the Q&A section if you do have questions that come up. We will take time towards the end to answer questions. We'll also stop periodically to see if people have questions. But in the meantime, like I said, you can use the Q&A section that you'll find in your Zoom browser in the toolbar there to ask any questions that you have. Okay, so I'm David Burnham, and I am the curriculum developer working on the AP Computer Science Principles courses. As you're aware, College Board has made some changes to the 2020 and 2021 AP Computer Science curriculum, and this course reflects those changes. So we're going to go take a look through what we're going to check out today. But on the call with me is Evelyn Hunter, and she is going to also be helping with the Q&A part of our chat. So she'll be answering questions as we go as well. Okay, we're going to start off today with a brief overview of the changes from College Board that are reflected in the 2020-2021 curriculum. From there, we're going to dive into an overview of our course, who it's for, what's covered, and some of the changes that we've made from last year's course. Then we'll take a look at exactly where you can access all the material for the course. And we'll end the webinar with Q&A. So don't worry, if you have questions, hopefully they'll be answered. And if not, we'll take a look at those towards the end of the session. So let's start by taking a quick look at the changes to the AP Computer Science Principles curriculum from College Board. So as many of you are aware, there are several changes that have been made by College Board for the upcoming year. Perhaps the most notable is that the test format no longer includes submitting the Explore task. While students will not submit the Explore task, they will still be working on stimulus-based questions. For example, they may be given a document about an innovation and will need to respond to multiple choice questions about the function or impact of the innovation. As a result of these changes, the scoring balance is also being changed a little bit, with multiple choice questions now representing 70 questions and 70% of the test. The create task also carries a little bit more weight and now needs to include the use of a list or other collection data. Additionally, there are a few small changes to the framework to better align it with college courses that are being offered that this would defer. So let's take a deep dive into the AP Computer Science Principles course. So the AP Computer Science Principles course is aligned to the new 2020-2021 curriculum. However, it's important to note that however, make sure to note that we do have this course being, this course is endorsed by College Board. One thing to note is that we've designed, hold on a second. Okay, sorry about that. One thing to note, though, is that this course is very similar to the previous year's courses, and it does use the JavaScript language. We have changed the name to reflect the fact that we do also offer this course in a version that is available for Python, but we'll talk more about that course in an upcoming webinar. Similar to other courses at CodeHS, the format of the AP Computer Science Principles is mainly online with some supplemental offline content. Each module contains short videos, examples, exercises, as well as a variety of other tasks. The course was mainly designed to be taught over a full year and prepares students to take the AP multiple choice test in May, as well as submitting the Create Performance task. So who is this course for? Well, this is an AP level introductory computer science concepts course. What that means is that it's aimed at high school students that may not have much prior knowledge about computer science or programming. It is also important to mention that it's a concept class. While there are some programming basics covered in the course, students that are looking for a pure programming class may be disappointed. Students that have had previously completed our Introductory to Computer Science JavaScript course we'll find out that there is significant overlap in the programming modules of this course. Not sure what happened there.
Dave, I can try sharing my screen.
Yeah, that would be helpful. I'm not sure what happened here.
Yep. Sorry for the technical problems.
Okay, so like our previous course, students will have a chance to learn to code with our Carol modules using various internet simulators and digital representations of data using our bit editor. So you want to go ahead and click through those. Thanks. If you taught this course in previous years, you'll notice a few changes. First, we have removed the web development module from the start of the course. We now start with our Carol module. We balance this by adding several graphic lessons on event-driven programming, showing students how to add things like mouse click and keyboard events to their graphics programs. We have also split out the performance tasks to be a separate module as opposed to the last lesson in a module. It's important to note that even though the Explore tasks are not required for submission, they are still part of the curriculum and still included in their course. As mentioned earlier, the course starts off with our Introduction to Programming module with Carol. From there, we get into the basics of JavaScript, including exploring some of JavaScript graphics. We continue to take a deeper dive into the control structures and other more advanced concepts, including functions with both input and return values. The last major programming unit focuses on basic data structures or JavaScript lists. In this module, students will explore how to create and manipulate lists. From there, the focus of the course shifts to a more conceptual framework, including how digital information is stored, how the internet works, and various tools for how we can store and display large amounts of data. In addition to our main conceptual modules, you'll also see modules with various performance tasks. Some of these modules are designed to help you meet the Explore task requirements, while others are more programming centric and will help students prepare for the Create task. So let's take a look at a few demos from the course. As I mentioned earlier, one of the additions to the course is event-driven programming. Students will apply basic concepts of functions and parameters in an interactive way with event-driven programming. The AP Computer Science Principles course explores the basics of both click-based and keyboard-based interactions in our JavaScript graphics environment. Our internet unit features a lesson on cybersecurity where students can explore the impacts of various cyber threats. In this demo, students test their abilities to recognize threats using our phishing simulator. So how do we access material? So now that we've gotten excited about the course, let's see how you can access it. So you can find the course in the course catalog, where you can view the course or directly assign it. Alternatively, you can use the quick enroll link at codehs.com/APCSP_JS start. Unlike some of our earlier launch webinars last month, this course is fully released and you can start creating new sections on it now. You can view the course syllabus by going to codehs.com/syllabus/6166 or from the link in our course catalog page. You can also get an overview of the course by checking out the marketing page found at codehs.com/apcsp_js_PDF. Okay, so now we'll take a look and answer any questions that we might have.
Great. So the first question that we have is, will students who have never had any programming background be able to be successful for the exam, learning only JavaScript and not other languages?
Yeah, and so the AP Computer Science Principles course is taught to be an introduction to programming. And if you have had no programming language, it's very easy to be successful here. The test that they give with the programming language is language agnostic, so it doesn't matter what language you learn. They actually use a pseudo code language that kind of covers the material there.
Great. Thanks, Dave. And then we also have a question just on kind of the amount of contact hours that you need to teach the course. So let's say, how many hours do we assume that students are in the class for? And, would this be able to work in like a block schedule?
Yeah, and so this, it's designed to be taught for a full year. It can be taught in block. I've actually taught it in both block and in 15-minute sessions. So you can be successful either way. And it is designed that if you want to teach it, if you're teaching it in a semester block, you will be a little bit challenged to try to get it in the second half of the year, but it can be done that way as well.
Great. And then just for the AP exam, this is completely multiple choice, right? There are no open-ended questions on the AP CSP written exam. The open-ended questions would be for the create performance task.
Yeah, there are, I think there's a couple, I think there's like 10 select multiple choice, select multiple response questions, but otherwise, yeah.
Right. Let's see. How much, I guess, can you speak to using CodeHS? How much does the teacher kind of need to do like live teaching versus kind of facilitating students going through the course online? Can you speak to a little bit like the different options that are available in terms of, keeping the whole class together, letting students do a little bit of work independently, and using both the online and face-to-face resources we have?
Yeah, so CodeHS was really designed so that students can kind of work through independently. There's a lot of different ways that you can teach the course. One being that you kind of let students work at their own pace and work through things. Now, unlike some of our programming modules, though, CSP does have some activities that are designed more for unplugged activities, offline activities, although they can kind of be adapted as needed if you are in more of a virtual environment. But yeah, we generally kind of expect this class to be done in a blended environment where you have some time on the lab or on the computers and some time off the computers doing some of the projects. But again, depending on how you want to teach, you can kind of set it up so that the students work independently through large portions of it, or you can kind of do it more in class where you start off each lesson with a video and then let the students work through at their own pace and then kind of keep the class together from there.
Awesome. Can you talk through what is our timeline for releasing the Python course, both the course beta and then the full course for the APCSP Python version?
Yeah, so the course beta should be released next week. We have a webinar that's kind of talking about that, I believe next Tuesday. And then from there, we are planning on releasing the full course sometime in July after we get through the beta period.
We had a question, is there any book that we have to follow on with the course? So we do have an ebook for our JavaScript course. that I would say goes along really well with the coding portion of the AP CSP course. But other than that, we don't have a textbook to accompany the CodeHS course. We had a question, can I use this course for the AP audit?
Yeah, and this course is, it is fully endorsed by College Board, and so you can use it for the AP audit, although I believe the process that you'll do that for next year is a little bit different. I think when you go into the AP audit, there'll be an option to select one of the curriculum from an endorsed provider.
Yeah, there'll be, we have instructions that we can send out, but basically there will be a list of sample syllabi from the endorsed providers, and you just have to find the one that says CodeHS and submit that. I can talk a little bit. We had a question about why the web development portion of the course was removed. The biggest reason for this was just time. This is a pretty big course. There are a lot of different learning objectives, and what we were finding was this was kind of having the web design portion, which gives some good background, but doesn't directly address a lot of the learning objectives. So having this in the course was kind of putting a time crunch on teachers and students as they, tried to get through the course in time to have the review and submit their performance tasks. So it is available in the supplemental materials, and teachers can definitely go through the web design module with their students if they went through it previously and it went well, and you had plenty of time to finish. But we found just for a lot of different teachers or classes, it was kind of putting some pressure on the pacing of the course. We had a question, let's see. The new syllabus mentions putting projects on the student's personal website portfolio. So since the website module is no longer in the main version of the course, what we'll be doing for the portfolio. So that is optional. I would say you can do part of the web design supplemental materials if you want to, but you don't necessarily have to add to the website portfolio as you've done in the past. Dave, are we releasing lesson plans to accompany the online lessons like we did for other courses?
Yeah, so it'll be very similar to the other courses. The lesson plans are available for this course, as well as we're updating lesson plans for the Python course as well.
Awesome. And then can you speak to, we had a question on the level kind of programming experience. So if students have some programming experience, do you have maybe tips to keep them engaged, or recommend what? Yeah,
so I've taught this class a couple times, and I've had some students that kind of fit in this category where they've had some programming experience. And one of the things you can do is just kind of challenge them as they get to some of those programming concepts. You can have them create some additional things. You'll notice that we've added we've really kind of expanded the graphics portion with some additional exercises on click-based and keyboard-based interactions. And with these, the students that know what they're doing can really start to explore and create some pretty good content. So I would look at kind of challenging them in some of those aspects. You can also look at supplementing with additional exercises, whether it's from our JavaScript course or from some of our other courses that can kind of just challenge them. And then when they kind of get to the create tasks, challenge them to create some pretty extensive programs. They don't have to necessarily create very big programs to complete the create task, but having a more thorough program helps to answer the questions that accompany the create task. And so you can really kind of have students go that way. But it is also important to kind of set expectations with some of these students that may be taking the class thinking that it's going to be a programming class, and knowing that you're not really going to dive too deep into programming concepts. And then you are going to take time to look at things like how the internet works and other concepts like that.
Yeah, and I do think we have, a lot of supplemental materials. I would say the create performance task is such an opportunity for students to, show off their programming skills if they've already have kind of a strong background. Um, and we do have a lot of supplemental materials in this course around JavaScript instruction. So if you're seeing that those students are kind of flying through the course and, they still want to take AP CSP, they can definitely kind of dive into that. We had a question just about like what's included on free. So one thing to note, we had a question on like solutions to different activities or exercises. So all of that is included with our free course. You don't need Pro to get access to solutions. We are seeing a little bit of a slowdown. Any other questions? And just a note, a recording of this webinar, as well as any of the links or resources that we talked about, that will all be sent out to people who are RSVP'd for the webinar. Dave, is there PD for teachers?
Yeah, we do have a PD course that we offer for this to kind of set up. I'm not sure how they necessarily enroll in that. Maybe you could speak to that.
Yeah, definitely. So we have both an online PD course, and then we also are offering this summer, all of our PD is moving to virtual, all of our kind of PD workshops. So we will be hosting actually a free workshop for AP CSP teachers this summer. I don't have the dates right in front of me, but that will be, if you're on our mailing list, you can see that sent out and you can sign up. And then we do have an online PD course. I would say it's between 40 and 50 hours of online instruction, and it's all self-paced. You get feedback from our PD team, as well as kind of any instruction or kind of talking through ideas. And you can, I would say, get in touch with us. If you just send us an email, hello@codehs.com, we can provide more information there. Great. We can maybe stick around for another minute or so.
Want to go to the last slide with our upcoming webinars?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah, so we have a few upcoming webinars. I know one person was asking about the Python webinar. You can find all of our webinars at codehs.com/webinar. Or /webinars. But right now we have a few scheduled for later this week with our Introduction to Computer Science and JavaScript. It's going to be tomorrow at noon Pacific time and 3 p.m. Eastern time. On Wednesday, we have our web design course at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, 1:30 Eastern time. We also have our AP Computer Science Principles in Python course, which is actually next Wednesday, June 17th. That's going to be at 1 p.m. Pacific time and 4 p.m. Eastern time. And that's where we're going to kind of go over our new beta and release our beta for the AP Computer Science Principles course.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, it looks like we don't have any other questions right now, so we can go ahead and wrap things up. But thank you everyone for attending, and thanks Dave for all this information.
All right, thanks.